Right now, you probably think you're in control. You decide when to wake up. You decide when to eat. You decide when to work. But there's one thing you don't control. And tonight, it's already coming for you. Not a monster, not a disease, not a killer. Sleep. Every night, no matter who you are, your brain forces you to shut down. You can fight it. You can drink coffee. You can splash water on your face. You can tell yourself you're not tired. But eventually, you lose. Because sleep isn't something humans enjoy. It's something humans need to survive. And if you try to avoid it, your brain starts doing something terrifying. At first, it's harmless. You feel tired. Your eyes burn. Your focus slips. But then, something strange begins to happen. You start seeing things that aren't there. You hear sounds nobody else can hear. Shadows move. Faces appear. Reality itself begins to break apart. And the scary part? This isn't a horror story. This is science. So what would actually happen if you never slept again? How long could you survive? And what terrifying things would happen before the end? To answer that, we need to start with the first 24 hours. Because that's when the nightmare 24 begins. Hours without sleep, most people expect to feel tired. But that's not what happens, not really. Because your brain doesn't simply get weaker, it starts making mistakes. Imagine waking up at 7 a.m. You go through your day normally, then night comes. But instead of going to bed, you stay awake. Midnight passes. 2 a.m., 4 a.m. The sun rises again. You've now been awake for an entire day. At first, it doesn't seem that bad. You're exhausted. Your eyes feel heavy. But you're still functioning. Or at least, you think you are. The problem is that your brain is already changing. Studies have shown that after around 24 hours without sleep, your reaction time becomes similar to someone who's legally drunk. You begin making simple mistakes. You forget things. You lose focus. You read the same sentence twice, sometimes 3 times, and that's just the beginning. Because while you're trying to stay awake, your brain is desperately trying to force you to sleep. It starts stealing tiny moments of rest, moments so short you don't even notice them. Scientists call them microsleeps. For a few seconds, parts of your brain shut down, then turn back on, without warning. Imagine driving a car, and suddenly, your brain goes dark for 3 seconds. At highway speed, that's enough distance to travel the length of a football field, completely blind. And that's why sleep deprivation is responsible for thousands of accidents every year. But something even stranger happens next. Your emotions begin to change. Small problems suddenly feel huge. You become irritated, anxious, paranoid. You might snap at people for no reason, or feel overwhelmed by things that normally wouldn't bother you. Because the part of your brain responsible for emotional control is starting to lose the fight. And remember, this is only the first 24 hours. The truly terrifying effects haven't even started yet. Because after 48 hours, your brain begins to lose its grip on reality. 48 hours without sleep, things get weird. Very weird. Because by now, your brain is running on emergency power. You've been awake for 2 full days, 48 hours. No sleep, no recovery, No reset. At first, you'll feel exhausted, but then something unexpected happens. You stop feeling normal tiredness. Instead, reality begins to change. You might see movement in the corner of your eye, a shadow crossing a hallway, a figure standing in a doorway. You look again, nothing. The human brain is constantly trying to make sense of the world, but after 48 hours without sleep, it starts making things up. Not because you're crazy, because it's desperate. Researchers have documented sleep-deprived people seeing objects that weren't there, faces appearing on walls, dark figures standing in empty rooms, even insects crawling across surfaces. Things that looked completely real until they suddenly disappeared. And it isn't just your eyes. Your hearing starts playing tricks too. You may hear someone call your name, a whisper, a knock, footsteps behind you. Sounds that seem real enough to make you turn around, only to find nothing. But the most frightening part isn't the hallucinations. It's the fact that you may not realize they're hallucinations. Your brain treats them as reality. Imagine sitting alone in your room. You haven't slept in 2 days. You glance toward the corner, and there's someone standing there, watching you, silent, motionless. You blink, still there. You look away, then look back, gone. That's how terrifying sleep deprivation can become. Because the line between what's real and what's not starts to disappear. Your memory gets worse. Your judgment gets worse. Your ability to think logically gets worse. And while all this is happening, your body is still begging for sleep. But the nightmare isn't over, not even close. Because after 72 hours, your brain begins to suffer a complete breakdown. And that's when things become truly dangerous. After 48 hours, your brain begins to lose its grip on reality. You see things that aren't there. You hear voices nobody else can hear. And the line between reality and imagination starts to disappear. But surprisingly, this still isn't the most dangerous stage. Because after 72 hours, the human brain begins to completely break down. Memory fails, judgment collapses, and reality itself becomes impossible to trust. Some people begin seeing entire conversations that never happened. Others become trapped between dreams and reality. And the terrifying part? To them, it all feels completely real. But that's a nightmare for another time. For now, just remember one thing. Sleep isn't a luxury. It isn't a reward. And it definitely isn't wasted time. It's one of the reasons you're still alive. Every night, your brain forces you to sleep for a reason. Because no matter how hard you fight it, eventually, your brain always wins. So tonight, when you close your eyes, be grateful that you still can.